City's lead at the top of the table has been cut to just 5 points. They were running away with it this time a couple of weeks back, but now, of course, we may have a title race on our hand. What am I talking about? Well, I'll tell ya next. That's right, folks, back once again with another video. Today we're taking a look at match number 21, that's right, over in the old Championship, and we'll get to it in a second. If you know where you've been, smash your subscribe, your one-stop shop for Blackburn Rovers, Championship football, world football. We're going to all hear under one Rooski. That's right, Coventry have just got 5-point lead over Middlesbrough, who are on hot pursuit. In fact, Borough have a nice 4-point cushion themselves between second and third place. But of course, that could all change this week. What am I talking about? Well, I'll tell you in a second. If you know where you've been, hit the old subscribe. Your one-stop shop for Championship football is right here. And a big shout out to the members and the patrons. You know who you are. It has actually got burst into life in the middle of the pack with the likes of Southampton moving up. Of course, Bristol City moving down, of course. And QPR are right in the thick of things for a playoff push themselves. What am I talking about? Well, I'll show you all of that right here, right now. So sit tight, hold on, and let's bring you bang up to date with the Championship. That's right, of course. Busy week this week, double match week. And of course, these were the results last time around. Kicking it all off with Blackburn could only draw with Oxford United. Of course, we had some good chances. We should have won that game. But it is that Ewood Park curse right now. So, yeah, got that one wrong. Meanwhile, Borough did beat Charlton 2-1 with a 2-0 win. Preston and Coventry did down to a 1-1 scoreline, as did Sheffield United and the Canaries 1-1 in the end. Southampton with a 3-2 win over West Brom. Swansea with a 1-0 win over Portsmouth. And, of course, Watford and Sheffield Wednesday could only draw. Meanwhile, QPR with a 2-1 win over Birmingham. Got that one spot on. Bristol City and Leicester City 2-2. Got that one spot on. Derby and Millwall 1-1 in the end. Ipswich with a 1-0 win over Stoke. And Hull with that 2-0 win over Wrexham, which, of course, I got pretty close to the mark. That's right. The table looks like this. Of course, with Coventry City flying high. Millwall in the mixer as well. It is a balmy-looking playoff race. Even somebody down as far as 13th place Leicester could be in the playoffs after this weekend's action if everything goes their way. As for the drop zone, it's still pretty much Oxford, Portsmouth, Norwich, Sheffield Wednesday well and truly in the mix. Rovers trying to keep themselves above water. Win for Rovers, we could see ourselves project into the teens, hopefully. Anyway, that's the situation over there. Of course, we do have a Super Brew. Keep on predicting over there, but we are going to roll into it in a form, of course, a busier week. And it all kicks off this coming Friday night. And under pressure, Ryan Mason up against a Sheffield United under Chris Wilder. Let's go back to the Hawthorns. Ryan Mason's West Brom are 16th right now, 25 points for them, just one win in the last 5. Up against Sheffield United under Chris Wilder, they are unbeaten now in the last 6. And they are definitely on the surge, of course. They last played at this venue. It was a 2-2 scoreline back in December 2024. Around about this time last season, all square there. All square back-to-back between these two sides. The Baggies, though, are on the back of that 3-2 loss to Southampton. Sheffield United could only draw with Norwich most recently. Their last away match, a 3-2 win over Leicester. In fact, they scored 6 goals in the last 2 away matches of Sheffield United. The bookies are backing a West Brom here, which is absolutely ludicrous. Sheffield United will win this game. Put your money down on that bad boy. Let's go to Norwich as they take on Southampton coming at Carrow Road. Philippe Clement's Norwich are 23rd right now, 14 points for them, just one win in the last 6. Up against Southampton under Tonda Eckhart, they are 9th, 5 wins in the last 6, 30 points for them. And they are, of course, in form right now. These two sides last played at this venue. It was a 1-1 scoreline way back in New Year's Day. Goodness gracious me. That was back in the Championship. They also played this season in the Cup. It was back in August. 3-0 winners it was for Southampton, who are unbeaten against the Canaries over the last 4. Norwich, though, could only draw with Sheffield United. Southampton, 3-2 winners over West Brom. They've scored 6 goals in the last 2 games combined. Have the Saints. Their last away match was a loss, though, against Millwall. The bookies are going to back Southampton here. I think I've also got Southampton winning this one. A tight game, but I think Southampton have got playing with some confidence right now. I would like to see that continue. Let's go to Oxford as they take on Preston coming out at the Kazam. Gary Rowett's Oxford are 21st in the table. 19 points for them, just one win in the last 6. Up against Preston, the Paul Heckingbottom, also one win in the last 6. They sit 5th right now, 32 points for them. They are both the draw specialists. 7 draws between the two sides in the last 5 matches apiece. Speaking of draws, they last played at Deepdale. It was a 1-1 scoreline. But of course, they last played at August at the Kazam last year, 2024. 3-1 winners it was for Oxford. Oxford on the back of a draw against Blackburn. Preston also back-to-back draws. In fact, 3 1-1ers in quick succession for Preston. The bookies are back in. No, nobody. They're back in the draw here, guys. They're back in the draw. But I'm going with Oxford United win. I thought they were good. Without ripping up trees, solid, and of course at home they'll be a little bit more stubborn. Let's go to Stoke as they take on Swansea at the Bet365. Mark Robbins, Stoke are 8th right now, 30 points for them, 5 defeats in the last 6. Up against Swansea, Victor Matos, back-to-back wins for them. They sit 18th with 23 points. coming into this. They last played over at Stoke. It was a 3-1 win for the Potters back in February 2025. Stoke are on the back of that 1-0 loss to Ipswich. Swansea winning at home to Pompey. Back-to-back wins, back-to-back clean sheets for them. But of course, on the road, not so much joy. The bookies are back in Stoke. I'm back in Stoke. They'll put 3 past Swansea for me on this one. Let's go to Birmingham as they take on Charlton. Coming at you over at the St Andrews. Birmingham under Chris Davies are 11th with 28 points. Back-to-back defeats for them. Up against Charlton and Nathan Jones, they are 19th with 23 points. They've lost 5 on the bounce in all shapes and all sizes. They last played at this venue. It was a 1-0 win for Birmingham. That was back in February 2025. The hosts on the back of that 2-1 loss to QPR. Back-to-back away wins at home. They're very, very good. Back-to-back wins for Birmingham. Scoring 6 goals in the last 2 games combined. As for the visitors, Charlton, again, 5 defeats on the spin. It's been 3 away defeats on the spin, so just 1 goal scored in the last 3 for Charlton on the road. Bookies are back in Birmingham. Gonna back, I'm afraid. 2-0 winners. Birmingham taking the points. Let's go to Coventry as they take on Bristol City coming at you at the Rico. Frank Lampard's Coventry are top of the pops. 44 points for them. Back-to-back games though without a win. Standing in the way are Bristol City and the Gerhard Struber, who are 10th, but they've only won once in the last 4 matches. Coming into this, they last played at this venue. It was a 1-0 win for Coventry back in January 2025. The hosts are unbeaten against Bristol City over the last 4, picking up a couple of wins and a couple of draws in all venues. Coventry, though, losing to Preston. Picking up a draw against Preston, losing to Ipswich. Their last victory was at home against Charlton. The bookies for this one, actually, Bristol City's form coming into this, not great. The last win was on the road, though. That might give them some confidence. But Coventry, massively fancied by the bookies. I've gone with a 3-1 win, and that'll keep them top of the table, you would imagine. Let's go to Leicester as they take on Ipswich Town. Of course, both sides were in that promotion race a couple seasons back. And of course, both sides locked horns last season in the Premier League. Leicester under Martin Coffey-Yentis are 13th right now, 28 points. Just 1 win in the last 4. Up against Ipswich under Kieran McKenna. They are 4th right now, 34 points. Just 1 defeat in the last 6. They last played over at Leicester. It was a 2-0 win for Leicester back in May 2025 in the Premier League. Leicester unbeaten against Ipswich over the last 6 matches. 3 wins, 3 draws, of course. They did draw themselves last time around against Bristol City on the road. Ipswich back-to-back home wins. Yeah. Coming into this, though, the bookies are backing Ipswich on the road here. I think I've got them winning it as well, which, of course, will break that bit of a dominance there from Leicester against Ipswich in recent times. Let's go to, where are we going? We're going to go to Middlesbrough now as they take on QPR. That's right, coming over at the Riverside. Kim Hellberg's boys are 2nd, 39 points for them. Just 1 defeat in the last 6. They won 3 on the bounce. So against QPR and Julian Stefan, they are 7th in the table, 31 points. Just 1 defeat in the last 6. Both sides pretty much identical form in here coming into this. They last played at this venue. It was a 2-1 win for the Borough back in March 2025. Middlesbrough winning 3 in the bounce against QPR, but also winning 3 in the bounce in a recent form. They beat Derby at home. It's back-to-back away wins against Hull and Charlton. They have conceded in each and every one of the last 3 matches. QPR, though, the same, conceded in the last 3 matches, but back-to-back wins for them coming into this. The bookies are back in Borough. I've gone with Borough, 3-1 winners, and it might be a statement result as well for them to maybe cut themselves a bit of gap between themselves and the chasing pack. Let's go to Millwall then as they take on Hull City coming at you at the Den. Millwall under Alex Neil, they sit 3rd right now, 35 points, just 1 defeat in the last 6. Up against Hull under Sergej Krkovic, they sit 6th right now, 31 points. They've won 3 and they've lost 3 over the last 6 matches. They last played at the Den. It was a 1-0 win for Hull, who are unbeaten against Millwall over the last 6. They picked up 3 wins and 3 draws. In fact, they haven't conceded a goal against Hull, against Millwall in the last 3 matches. In fact, they've got 5 clean sheets against them in the last 6. Millwall, though, could only draw with Derby, most recently Hull with that 2-0 win over Wrexham at the MKM. Millwall, though, fancy for the W. I think they'll turn it around here as well. 1-0 winners for Alex Neil and Millwall. Let's go to the game of the day, though. It will be at Portsmouth, Fratton Park. It will be John Mousinho's Pompey are 22nd right now, 17 points for them, just 1 win in the last 6. Up against Rovers and Deval Ishmael, just 1 defeat in the last 5, but they've drawn 3 in quick succession. 20th in the table, 22 points for them, coming into this, having played Portsmouth last time around at Fratton Park, but they lost. It was a 1-0 win for Pompey. Prior to that, though, Rovers were unbeaten against Portsmouth, so hopefully they can get back on the winning train. Portsmouth, though, losing to Swansea most recently, haven't scored a goal in the last 3 matches. Rovers, 3 back-to-back 1-1 draws coming into this, and the bookies are favouring Rovers on the road for this one. I'm also going with the Rovers victory, just the 1-0 win, not much in it, and it'll be a tight old game right to the wire. And then last couple, we're going to go to Wales as Wrexham take on Watford at the racecourse ground. Wrexham under Phil Parkinson, just 1 win in the last 5. They are 14th for the table, 27 points for them. I'm against Watford and what is his name? Carlos Garcia, matey boy for the Hornets, 12th at the table, 28 points for them, just 1 defeat in the last 6. They are getting some points on the board here. But they did draw Leicester against Sheffield Wednesday, which was a bit of an upset. Wrexham haven't won in the last 3. The bookies are back in Wrexham at home here. I've gone with a 2-0 win as well for the Deadpool FC. And then finally, we go to Sheffield Wednesday. They got Derby at Hillsborough. Sheffield Wednesday under Henrik Pedersen are 24th at the table at -9 points against Derby. John Eustace, 50th at the table, 27 points for them. Just 1 win in the last 5. They last played, of course, over at Sheffield Wednesday. It was a 4-2 win for the Owls back on New Year's Day. Wednesday winning 3 on the spin against Derby. Are unbeaten against them in the last 6 as well. But both sides coming into on back-to-back draws. The bookies are back in Derby. I've gone with a 1-1 draw right here, right now. As, of course, a point in the bag for Wednesday. And if I'm right, what will that be? That'll be this, guys. It'll be Coventry City and Borough out on their own, of course. Millwall making strides into the 3rd place. Ipswich in 4th. Stoke 5th. And then Southampton are 6th. Wednesday, Norwich and Portsmouth going down. But, of course, it is still up for grabs all across the board in the old championship. That's what I think. Let me know what you think as we head into the busy period. And, of course, the next time we get at it for Rovers, I will be there. Well, fingers crossed I'll be there, of course, against Millwall. But that's still to be had. Let's, of course, focus on this weekend. Until then, we see you soon. Whenever we return, we're done.